Hey there, welcome to Open, the show opening the Bronx and the rest of the world to you. I'm Gary Axelbank, filling in for Daren Jaime, and today we'll update you on what's happening in and around the borough of the Bronx and New York City. Coming up, we'll sit down with the senior pastor and founder of the Alpha and Omega Churches of our Lord Jesus Christ and a local politician who are here today to make a plea for the community for any help they can lend in finding the killer of a recently deceased woman from our area. Then for years, calls to shut down Rikers Island have echoed. A recent New York Times article brought to light the violent assault and sexual abuse of an inmate by correctional officers at Sullivan Correctional Facility since the passage of the omnibus correction oversight bills 8415. Governor Hochul has been sitting idly by. We have two experts here to delve into those issues. And over the last 12 months, food prices have risen steadily at 2.7%. And with the holidays upon us, many of us are going to have to dig deep to feed the family. However, one of our guests is here to tell us about a new food app that's aimed at bringing the consumer some relief this holiday season. And finally, we're joined by a doctor from Montefiore Medical Center who has some good news for parents who have children who suffer from asthma. A new $4.1 million National Institutes of Health grant aims to enhance coordination of asthma care for local school children, something we can all support. So stay tuned. We have all this and Around the Bronx updates are headed your way because now, yes, we are officially open. Hey folks, I'm Gary Axelbank. You're now watching Open, which is a program recorded live that brings the Bronx and New York City straight to you. We also want to welcome viewers for the Manhattan Neighborhood Network, as Open is broadcast simultaneously on MNN's channels as well. You can stay connected to us on all the social media platforms at Bronxnet TV. And here are some things going on throughout the past week. We'll take you through it and give you some Bronx updates. In our first Bronx update, 5 Lehman College Business students score Bally's AC internships. This report comes to us from reporter Brittany Schuyler.
5 Lehman College students are getting a step ahead of the game, ready to embark on internships this winter at Bally's Casino, thanks to the help of Chairman Sue Kim.
We believe that Lehman College is one of the important pillars of the Bronx.
At an event held at Lehman Center for Performing Arts, business students gathered to hear Kim's story, ask questions, and network with him and other industry professionals.
I feel a very deep sense of connection, and if there's anything I can do to help them and share with them experiences and insights that I frankly didn't have the benefit of myself, I'm happy to do it.
Big picture in mind, the upcoming winter internships. Selected students will receive paid internships at Bally's Atlantic City, gaining hands-on experience in hospitality, accounting, human resources, and management. Plus, housing and transportation will be provided, removing barriers that often stand in the way of career opportunities.
That is one example of what we're trying to do here at Lehman, which is embed in our curriculum experiential learning opportunities.
And while the 5 interns haven't been chosen just yet, Kim says the goal is simple: to open doors, broaden horizons, and give Lehman's future business leaders a real shot at launching their careers. Reporting for Bronxnet, Brittany Schuyler.
In honor of Veterans Day, Assemblymember Landon Dais led a Bronx rally to end veterans' poverty. This report is brought to us from Nicole Rosado. Take a look.
Assemblymember Landon Dais raised awareness to veterans, a neglected issue in the Bronx. Veterans frequently struggle to get help and figure out how to carry on with their lives after serving. Assemblymember Dais brings veterans' concerns to light at this event in order to help them and find solutions.
My father is a United States Army veteran. He served in 1960 to 1963. So I've always was raised in a household that respects military veterans. And my dad one day brought a 97-year-old World War II vet to my office who was about to be kicked out of his house. And that broke my heart. If someone serves this country, especially if they served in a war, we need to make sure that they're taken care of.
Many organizations, including Grow Green Market NYC, Z-Best Home Care Agency, Essence Healthcare, and others, joined the rally to support Landon Dais' mission to provide veterans with groceries, knowledge, and support.
That really made me think, how many other veterans who served our country were dealing with the same thing? As I did research, talking to all of our organizations, I saw how dire the situation was. So I was inspired by those who served our country, because sometimes heroes still need help also. So I'm out here helping them, because my dad raised me to respect our veterans, and I want to make sure as an elected official we do that.
The Bronx has the second smallest veteran population of NYC borough, with about 25,000 veterans as of early 2024. In order to guarantee that veterans' demands are given priority, we need to raise public awareness and garner media attention as the 2025 to 2026 legislative session draws near.
Specifically, what I noticed, none of the mayoral candidates are talking about veteran issues. No one is speaking to the 150,000 veterans in New York City when there's a huge mayoral election just this November, and there's 600,000 veterans statewide. That's a large, and that's not just them, but think about their families too, that's impacted.
Our veterans answer the call to serve in the United States Armed Forces, but far too many of them are now unemployed, dealing with mental health concerns, food hardship, housing instability, and restricted access to state-sponsored incentives and basic services. This ensures that a country that expresses gratitude does its part to ensure that veterans can return home in peace, stand up, care for their families, and live somewhat dignified lives. Reporting for Bronxnet, Nicole Rosado.
Okay, don't go anywhere. We're just getting started. We'll be back with more Open right after this.
What's up, creative family? Discover your voice with Bronxnet community media classes. Are you ready to bring your ideas to life? At Bronxnet, we offer television production classes for community members ages 18 and over, empowering you to share your vision with the world. Get certified in field production, in-studio production, and our new exciting addition, podcast production. Once certified, you can create your own show to air on one of our 6 TV channels. It all starts with our free Unleash Your Ideas Masterclass, designed to help you plan your show idea and set you up for success on your production journey. This class is offered at the beginning of each month for your convenience. Our dedicated Bronxnet team is here to support, encourage, and uplift you every step of the way. Join us and become a part of the creative force that engages and inspires the Bronx community and beyond. Sign up today and start your media journey with Bronxnet. Visit bronxnet.org/education to learn more and register. Let's create something amazing together.
Okay, welcome back to Open. Folks, we have a desperate plea for help. Here's the story. On October 27, a 35-year-old homeless woman, Bonnie Schulman-Rice, was tragically found deceased in East Harlem in Manhattan. Her body was discovered in a black plastic trash bag inside a green laundry bag. As of today, no one has come forward with information. Joining us to raise awareness and seek justice for Bonnie are Bishop Dr. Boyde Y. Singletary. Nice to see you, Dr. Boyde. And Pastor Dr. Cheryl Singletary of the Alpha and Omega Churches of our Lord Jesus Christ. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having us.
And also community activist Tyreeke Goodman. Nice to see you, my friend. Folks, this is quite disturbing. Now, some of the background is that apparently this woman, Bonnie, had a drug problem, and the assumption was that she had died from a drug overdose, but you folks think something else might be involved.
Yes, Tyreeke Goodman can actually elaborate on how this all came about.
All right, well, Mr. Goodman, go right to it.
So we was as many people have watched the news and have read up on the article, her body was actually found. And her body found in a luggage suitcase, that doesn't seem like a drug problem that she would do herself.
Logic would pretty much dictate that.
Right. Now
She didn't crawl into this suitcase.
Right.
And it's horrible to even talk
just
about
to
it.
just to even imagine
sick,
that.
yes.
Now for me, when I saw this, we've been dealing with gun issues and violent crimes, and also going out to the communities trying to provide the support and the help that people need when it comes to drug overdose prevention and stuff like that as well. But the situation is when that happened, that was very alarming. And for me, everybody was focused on, the elections that was going on around that time, that it just seemed like that story was just going to blow over everybody's heads. For me, I'm a father. I was raised nothing but around women. Most of my family live in this district or throughout even the Bronx or Harlem. So for me, it was about, hey, Bishop, let's get on this. Let's make some noise. Let's forget about the politics and let's just go out there. And
Well, yeah, I mean, I can't even imagine the notion of politics being involved in this.
Right.
So basically, they made the assumption, and this gets into, here's a homeless woman who had some personal issues, and drug use might be one of them, but they just blew past it and said, okay, it's not worth finding out
Right.
what happened here.
Right.
But when did you guys get involved? We'll ask you each. When did you get involved, and why did you think, because there are many issues out
sir.
there, and I know you deal with a lot of different things,
Yes, sir.
but why did you think this was real important?
When community activist Tyreeke Goodman reached out to Dr. Cheryl Singletary and myself, he said that he wanted to do not just awareness to it, he wanted to do a prayer vigil because this woman's life mattered. This is actually the second woman, because there's 3 women. This is the second woman that was actually found in a garbage bag, inside of a green bag in Manhattan. Mm-hmm. And then 2 weeks later, another young lady was found downtown.
So the implication is this is their method of...
This is their method, yes. Yeah. And when we seen the horrific story, Pix 11 and a few other news, they reached the story. So what happened is when we tried to deal with these type of issues, because we also dealt with another issue, we went to the memorial of the Brima Kawam, the young lady who was also burned on the train by Coney Island. So it reminded me of this type of situation as well. This is human beings we're talking about. It's
Right.
inhumane when people don't care. So when he called us, the first thing we did was we started to research, we started to dig, and come to find out this woman was full of life. So her life mattered. So we came together, we did a
every
prayer
life
vigil.
matters. I'm
Yes.
not going to even interpret or evaluate for
Right.
you. But,
All lives matter. And we took it upon ourselves to put together a prayer vigil right by the Metro North, because it was in the back of the Metro North on 124th and Park Avenue, actually where her body was found.
Wow.
And right now there's a picture and there's candles. If anybody want to go visit, they can visit to pay their respects to the honor of this young lady.
Dr. Cheryl, explain to me your passion about this, because this is not a little thing.
Yes.
What is it about this that reaches you and makes you want to
It's painful, being a woman and how our women is being treated in this world. Mm-hmm. And the worst thing that things like that could happen to any of us. And yes, all lives matter. And I'm very concerned because I am a mother, I'm a grandmother, I have ministerial service, we have missionaries, spiritual daughters. I have all women and all men. I have concerns about this world anyway. So if you ask me, that was the worst thing that could ever have happened to anybody.
Is your sense, and I'm going to make the assumption, is your sense that the NYPD and other officials are just saying, well, she was homeless, nobody really cared? I mean, I hate to even say these things, but that is what the suggestion is, that they found a body, and rather than really analyze what happened, they kind of characterized her and said, well,
Another life
yeah.
goes down the drain. I think we just numbers in this world today.
Yeah.
Personally.
Wow.
I just saw Mr. Goodman go by the end of his seat when I was saying those things. This gets into not only NYPD, but a whole kind of systemic look at who people are, right? Why don't you talk? I know that's very important to you.
The thing is that just like many of these situations, even when we have kids getting gunned down in the streets, you know, it hits news for about a week and then everybody forgets about it. This is a thing that we got to understand this. When it comes to violence as a whole and as a general, we have to address it and we have to keep on addressing it. And we need different outlets to address it. Yeah. You know, we need to do a lot of preventing work other than just awareness now. So for me, it's all about, you know, I feel like every time we always hear the same talks, what we need to do, what we need to start doing. So for me, it's no longer about talk. It's now about
no
action.
It's no longer about starting.
Yeah, and it's also about demanding.
And so, who are you demanding from? And like, what do you see as the next steps that would help?
So,
and I'm going to ask the pastors about something else that's related to this. Go ahead.
So first, one of the things that we're saying is that now that the election is over, we need our elected officials to unify, come together throughout their districts, put away their political agendas, and let's focus on the people, because something is going on where our babies is dying, our women and our elderly are not safe. Second, it's time, you know, to hire police officers, but also make sure that their mental is right as well, so they could come out and do these jobs. And then we must demand more for our community members, our community boards, to say, hey, if you know something, say something. No longer can we sit back and not speak up, because when you don't speak up, it's easy to not speak up until your family is in the crossfire.
And what makes it difficult, and this is what I want to get about with both of you, what makes it difficult is her family involved. Yes, I understand her family was somewhat involved, but that's not a requirement to find out what happened. Correct. And this is what I want to get at, and yes, that is, to me, this begins to take a look at homelessness in general. Correct. Because, you know, like, those people are not considered like regular people for some reason, and if something happens to them. So why don't you just address that and then piggyback off what Mr. Goodman says about how we move this to the next step.
Yeah, we have to move to the next step. The fact that this young lady here.
Oh yes, you have the picture of her.
This is a picture of her. Wow. 35 years old, full of life. Okay. Her life she actually was a business student. She's from Long Island. She graduated high school in Long Island and went to business school in Long Island. How she ended up here in New York, she's been living here, homeless in New York, at Marcus Garvey's Park. People seen her. People knew her as Sweetie. That was her nickname. And she was going back and forth to a drug program that was not too far from the Metro North. She actually enjoyed riding the Metro North. And she has several Facebook pages, and actually one of the Facebook pages she had said,
you know, it's kind of driving me crazy, because this was a human being.
This is a human being.
She may have been homeless. We don't know. I don't know the circumstances that led to that. We can imagine what they might have been, but yeah,
you know. And the family is private. The family does not want to, you know, be on the media. The family is private. We're taking the initiative, the responsibility, because her life mattered, and we need whoever did this heinous crime to be brought to justice, because there's a lot of women. 2 weeks ago, another woman. But to go back to this story, to answer your question, the fact that people in the neighborhood knew she was struggling for 2 years. It's cold outside. The weather changes, the climate. So you can imagine the amount of weight that she have lost, the nourishment she have lost. So she actually was calling out on the media.
Right. Before we run out of time, we'll give Dr. Cheryl another chance to speak about this. There's something here that just resonates about the way that people in general, and then, of course, you go to crime-fighting officials, whether it be police officers or detectives or others, look at people. Maybe we'll give you the final word. What is the message to the audience outside, and, of course, to, as Tyreeke said, the elected officials and others?
Yes.
The message, the major message, those who watching, I know people look at the news at times, those who's watching, please come forward. For your sake, for this woman that was a senseless killing, to put her in the bag, somebody had to know. And we want justice for this woman. because it could be any of your mothers, your children one day, and you should never let her die in vain this way. This is not right, it's not fair. So please look at this and look at us that risk our life to try to do the right things in this world for people. And we need others to come forward and help us.
Thank you.
United we stand, divided we land. And I thank you for listening.
Tyreeke, just real quick, what's the message and what do you want people to do?
The message is
the
that
action.
Things like this would not happen in our city if we were more united. We're too divided. It's time to come together, and it's time to protect our families. But in order to protect our families, we must come together as a community.
There you go. Listen, we could talk a long time about this. Dr. Boyde Singletary,
Yes.
Dr. Cheryl Singletary, Tyreeke Goodman. Thanks for caring about human beings. I mean, it seems like a simple thing, but you've come on here and really said it beautifully. Thank you very much.
Thank you for having us.
Okay, folks, if you do know anyone or know information about this crime and, of course, others, call Crime Stoppers at 1-800-577-TIPS. Or you can contact Bishop Boyde Singletary directly at 845-604-0472. So there we go. Thank you again for joining us. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. More Open right after this.
Only 57% of New York City high school students are college ready by their senior year. .5% of high school graduates either have no plans to attend college or are uncertain that they will ever attend. .34% of young adults don't go to college because they can't afford it. Discover what's possible. Bronxnet's education programs, internships, and opportunities help engage and inspire Bronx youth and beyond to pursue their passions. Be a part of the Bronxnet family. Whether you're interested in our shows, joining a class, or donating to support our mission, visit bronxnet.org to learn more.
Okay, welcome back to Open. In New York State, there's an estimated incarcerated population of 49,000 people. Calls for shutting down Rikers Island and allegations of violent assault and sexual abuse by correctional officers are absolutely plaguing the system and, frankly, disturbing all of us. However, a bill aimed at correction oversight has yet to be signed into law. The big question is if the New York State Department of Corrections and Community Supervision is broken, and can it be fixed? My next guests are from the Katal Center for Equity, Health, and Justice. So please welcome to our program Melanie Dominguez, who's the organizing director at the Katal Center for Equity, Health, and Justice. Nice to see you, Ms. Dominguez. And joining her is Ziyadah Amatul-Matin, who's a member at the Katal Center. Thank you also for joining us. Ms. Dominguez, let's just start about and talk about the Katal Center. Yeah. What is it? And then we'll talk about this very difficult and troubling issue.
So we are a community organization working to develop intergenerational leadership and organizing capacity to build community-based power to win systemic change around equity, health, and justice. And since our founding in 2016, we've been fighting to shut down the Rikers Island jail complex. And that fight has led us to work on state-level reforms aimed at reducing the jail population at Rikers Island, but also addressing the horrific conditions that exist there. And for the past 2 years, we've been working on a piece of legislation that would overhaul the State Commission of Correction, which is an independent body in the state of New York with the constitutional authority to ensure that all correctional facilities in New York are being kept in safe, stable, and humane conditions. And so that piece of legislation was added under Section H of the Omnibus Correction Oversight Bill. And right now, as you know...
Now it has passed the Assembly and the
Correct,
Senate?
correct.
And so it's sitting on the governor's desk.
That's right.
All right, we'll unravel all that. The stupid question of the day, what is it about Rikers Island that you and your colleagues believe has to be closed? And you hang in there, we're going to get you similar questions.
I feel like Ziyadah
So
can
you
best-
should talk about that, okay?
Yes.
Ms. Amatul-Matin,
Yes.
why don't you answer
so
that question?
there's been in the state prisons, conditions are horrific, right? So this month, we the people heard another horrific story about Mr. Moore, who was violently assaulted and sexually abused by correctional officers at Sullivan Correctional Facility in January 2023. This story follows the brutal killings of Robert Brooks in 12/24 and Messiah Natwe in 2005 at Marcy and Mid-State prisons that occurred in the past. My brother Ramadan Mubarak Ibn Abdul-Mateen is among those who have died in state prisons. He died at Windy Correctional Facility. It's shameful. My son, who is currently incarcerated, Rashad Abdul-Mateen, has experienced horrible violence. He, alongside David Williams, Jamal Smiley, Dean Brenner, Barry Sawyer, and Christopher Quiles, were randomly beaten by the CERT team. These occurrences...
By the which team?
The CERT team.
What team is that?
That's the Navy Guards team that Governor Hochul appointed to release the corrupted correction officer to put them in place.
I see.
Right? So these occurrences underscore the violence and abuse that incarcerated people face daily in New York State prisons. These situations impact all of us, right? The state prison has demonstrated illegal behaviors as crimes when the average person would be held on charge for.
So who knows about these crimes and why are the very logical issues addressed and say, well, wait a minute, this just can't go on. I mean, we realize people are in prison, and that's one thing, but they can't be taken advantage of in this way.
Correct.
So
number
where's the
one
problem?
is Mayor Eric Adams knows about these crimes because he's the one that's over the jails.
He oversees
right. He oversees the
city
jails. So
yeah.
and as they get publicly recorded from the cameras of the correction officers, the news, everybody, the governor, everybody knows about these crimes. And for years, incarcerated people have been reaching out to get this information informed, but they've been deblocked by corrupted correction officers. So now that leads to them sharing it with us as family members to get the word out. What's going on? This has been going on a long time. They know the number of years.
There is obviously a culture that needs to be addressed. I don't know which of you can answer this. What in the bill would address that culture? And is this the bill, the end all and be all, like once you get that done, you're on your way? Or is this the first bill that needs to go, and now we're going to do other legislation along the way? So what's your vision of the whole package of how to get this done?
Yeah, that's a good question. And one of the things that we have to name into the space is that the omnibus correction oversight bill came out in a moment of a crisis in state prisons. So the legislature was fighting for these packages and these bills, as well as the community, because of the brutal murder of Robert Brooks in December at Marcy Correctional Facility, and then, of course, the brutal murder of Messiah Natwing at Mid-State Correctional Facility. Mm-hmm. And so part of that bill, the legislature convened a package of 10 prison oversight bills. And so that includes our bill, the SCOC, but it also includes other bills that would increase the number of cameras that are found in correctional facilities in places that they haven't been there, but where they know that correctional officers convene at, to reduce the violence that correctional officers are putting on incarcerated individuals. There's also a part of that package. There's also another bill that would inform the next of kin when their loved one has passed away and would require the docs to provide that information publicly and to also notify the Attorney General if there is video footage to share that with them within 72 hours. And so increasing those levels of transparency and accountability would allow to change the culture that exists currently in state prisons and jails.
There's been, there's been a lot of talk about Rikers Island and having a federal takeover. Is that, do you see that as Ms. Amatul-Matin as a very good step forward, or is it really only going to complicate it because now you have a bureaucracy that's even farther away than the city and state bureaucracies or the state offices that control this?
Well, I see it definitely as a good thing to close the Rikers Island down because they're not fulfilling their obligation to have the incarcerated people live safely in humane conditions. So, and then on top of it, I think we need to add that one of the higher officials need to go inside and just meet the incarcerated people, give them the demands of what they needed for each one before this happens.
Yeah.
And I would love to add more to that, Ziyadah, because as an organization, we've been calling for a federal receivership. And for us, it was a matter, alongside our members who are directly impacted, it's a matter of like, we were contending with the reality that we have a mayor currently, Eric Adams, who was not committed to shutting down Riker and is not. And
well, at this point,
right, exactly. Things are changing.
Do you think the next mayor would be Mayor Mamdani? Would be interested in this?
Mayor-elect Zahar Mamdani, has stated that he would be committed to shutting down Rikers and following the 2019 City Council plan.
Yeah, the note that I have here, which was in Gothamist, 12 people died in city jails and 45 people have died since Eric Adams has become mayor. And so your anticipation of the new mayor will author a change, you think, in this whole process?
Absolutely, because it's necessary.
In terms of the governor's office now, have there been pressure on her? Has she done kickback? Has she pushed back on it? Or is it just one of those things on her desk that is just kind of waiting there? Do you have a sense of that?
So just to bring it back a little bit to the mayor-elect and what's happening in the city at Rikers Island, you're absolutely right. Rikers is in a state of crisis. At least 45 people.
It's a mess.
It's horrific.
Come on. I'm a Bronx boy. It's a mess.
At least 40...
And I could use worse language, but I'm not going to do that on TV.
Yeah, at least 45 people have died since Mayor Eric Adams took office. And to make matters worse, we've also seen an increase in the number of people that are being detained in city jails. So we actually, today, we released a report with the Data Collaborative for Justice at John Jay. And this report basically examines the scale of mental health needs in New York City and how that has impacted and translated in New York City jails, right? And so we've seen an increase to nearly 7,000 people incarcerated. A majority of that has been driven because of mental health needs in New York City.
I don't want to run out of time. I saw a story, I think it was just last night, of a blind man who had been kept in solitary confinement for days and without his cane, and he could, well, I mean, I can't even imagine the horror. That's another issue here because the solitary confinement dialogue has been out there, but it hasn't been resolved. I mean, that's where we're at. All right, let's just wrap it up, if you would, Ms. Amatul-Matin. What do you want to see? What is the message out there, and what do you want to see?
We want to see change. We want to see humans getting treated like humans. We want to see humans being treated equal, period.
Wouldn't it be nice if, I mean, listen, incarceration is a difficult thing, and of course we need to have the prisons, but it would be nice to have them be like humane. Is that a way to look at it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you both for your time. Did you want to add one thing?
I did want to add.
She wants to add one thing.
One of the
Go
things
to it.
that we want to see is Governor Hochul signing the omnibus correction bill right now. That bill has been waiting on her desk since June of this year, and so she should be signing it now, not waiting till the end of the year before the clock runs out. So
yeah, and then of course there'll be a new mayor and then a new dialogue. Listen, thank you for your passion for human beings. It's really very, very important, and we appreciate your time. Folks, for more information, you can go to katalcenter.org. So don't go anywhere more. We'll be right back.
There's a new channel to explore, and it's bringing the classics back to life. During the day, relive the Bronxnet originals that sparked conversations and built community. At night, dive into the hip-hop throwbacks that defined the generation. One destination, two powerful lineups. Now playing on Optimum Channel 952, FiOS 2138, and streaming at bronxnet.tv. BX Legacy, where history meets the moment.
We are the Eco Leaders. We learned that everything starts with ourselves. Then we have to educate ourselves. Then we have to build community and use our imagination.
Welcome back to Open. With over 1.3 million users, the Flashfood app has saved Americans over $200 million and kept more than 100 million pounds of food from being wasted. And so Esther Cohn is here to tell us about the Flashfood app. She is the VP of Communications and Public Affairs at Flashfood. Esther Cohn, nice to have you with us. She's here with us virtually, and nice to see you on Open.
Thanks so much for having me. Happy to be here.
Just tell us about Flashfood and what makes it different and distinctive and, of course, very useful for people.
Sure. So Flashfood connects shoppers with affordable groceries available at grocery stores near them. So download the app and you'll see groceries listed there for up to half price, if not more, where you can buy them and then go pick them up in store.
So let's just fully understand this. Everybody goes to the grocery store. So you go to Flashfood first, and then do you order through Flashfood, or then?
Yep.
So you order through there, and you're saying it's a less expensive way to get food.
Yeah, so we partner with grocery stores to help them reduce their surplus food. So that's the food waste piece that you mentioned earlier on. So grocery stores have a bunch of surplus food. Usually this is fresh food, produce, meat, dairy, and they'll list it, instead of throwing it away, they list it on the Flashfood app at a really big discount. So you can essentially shop surplus food, save a bunch of money while you're doing it, and then you still go pick it up in the store, which is super convenient.
That's rather remarkable. How did you get started, and how long ago did you do this? Is this kind of a new thing, or it's just kind of been around? I'd never heard of it until we, found out we were doing this segment. Sounds like a fascinating concept.
So we're about 5 or 6 years old, but we were founded in Canada. So we are still relatively new to the United States. And it is there's a ton of food going to waste, and there's also a ton of people that want to save money on their groceries. And so it's really a win-win by sort of connecting shoppers with this surplus food available at grocery stores. We're saving people money, helping them afford more fresh food, right? The food that they really want, which is meat, dairy, produce, all this good stuff. And then also, keeping good food from going to waste. And
so which grocery stores can you pick them up? Is it, I don't want to give free publicity to any chain, or can you select, this is my grocery store, so I get it here?
So we're available at a wide variety of chains and independent grocers. We're in about 2,000 grocery stores across North America. If you download the app and there's not a location near you, let us know. We really want to bring on new stores, and we're adding new stores every day. So if you have a grocery store nearby that doesn't have Flashfood yet, let us know and we'll reach out.
Now that's fascinating. So I'm assuming you have relationships with the big chains, but there are, certainly in the Bronx, there are local grocery stores who could participate. And
yeah, absolutely.
You must be brilliant in figuring out, the systems so that everybody makes out. And the grocery stores, I guess, are happy with you because they reach a wider audience, I'm presuming.
Yeah, absolutely. And they don't want to throw food away either, right? Grocery stores are in the business of feeding their communities. And if they can find ways to feed their communities more affordably, they're going to do so. And if they're saving, food from going to waste at the same time, it's a win for them as well.
In terms of this day and age, this is, I don't have to tell you, incredibly timely because obviously the threats to SNAP and all that, we know what's out there. That's a whole other world of things to talk about. But this is very timely. Do you find the phone is ringing more, so to speak, or the app is working, or that's part of what we're doing here today to make sure it does?
Absolutely. I do think it's very timely. You know, it's always been true. Grocery prices have been rising for several years now. But I think in moments of crisis, as people start to wonder how they're going to put food on the table, they do start to seek out some opportunities to find ways to save. And so we are in service of our grocery partners who have that food available and just want to make sure it makes it to people instead of to landfills.
That food is a very personal thing. You know, when I go shopping in the grocery store, it's probably a heck of a lot different than when you go shopping in the grocery store. How do you know if, like, the things that you personally want are available, and are all foods available? You know, can you buy a peanut butter and jelly as well as buying fresh food? So what does Flashfood cover so that people can say, wow, this is for me, you know?
That's a great question. So there's new stuff posted every day. So it really just comes down to what the grocery store has available that day. I would say at least half of what you're going to see is fresh food, but there's certainly bakery and, you know, other kind of shelf stable items, pastas, rice, things like that. But it changes every day. So, you know, we have shoppers that check the app every morning to see what's available on Flashfood, because it's going to be new every day, and you'll find something, probably going to find something you like every single day.
What is the time lag between the time that you order the food and the time that you can go into the grocery store? Because again, that's also a very personal thing for people to say, well, you know, I ran out of breakfast cereal, so I got to go to the store today because otherwise I won't have cereal for tomorrow. How does the timing work?
Right away. You know, we have people that check Flashfood in the parking lot on their way in as they're picking up the rest of their items. So that's what's great about Flashfood is you can really plan your grocery list around it, right? If you're sitting down at the table making the grocery list, you go ahead and check Flashfood, and you can, you know, cross off the items that you're going to get at a great price, and then pick up whatever else you need while you're there.
And how do you save money? I mean, it's like I go in the grocery store, I got to pay what they're asking. But through this, I mean, I'd love to learn at least a little bit about how the economy of it works.
Sure. So what is posted to Flashfood is what would otherwise be thrown away, frankly. It's a lot of people don't think about food waste very often because it's something that we don't see. But in general, we throw away around 30 to 40% of the food that we produce in the U.S., which in a world when people are struggling to afford their groceries is really a devastating amount. And some of that does occur in the grocery store, right? If you think about the abundance of options that you see when you go in there, not all of that is going to be sold before it reaches its best by date. That's just how the system works. And so what we've done is partnered with those grocery stores to help them reduce the amount of food that they're throwing away by discounting it before it reaches that best by date. So for the shopper, you're getting perfectly good food that was on the shelf the day before or even that morning, but you're getting it at a discount because the grocer has sort of cleared the way to make room for something else coming in. So if you think about it, we're sort of I'm sure you've walked into a grocery store and in the back corner, they'll have sort of a discount rack or something along those lines. Maybe there's some yellow stickers on it. And we're kind of a digital app-based version of that lets you see it from home. You see what you're going to get. You add it to your cart right in the app, and then you can just go pick it up in store. So we've digitized a system that essentially already existed and just made it a little easier to use.
You know, while you were talking, I was smiling, and this is as current as it could be. Yesterday afternoon, I went shopping in a local grocery store, and I was selecting apples to buy, and I saw the huge pile of apples, and you know, I bought maybe one or two, and maybe the person behind me bought one or two, maybe even three, but there were dozens. I mean, I don't know, and I literally said to myself, wow, do they really sell all this stuff? Or same thing, they were, again, using produce, because I was in the produce section, and I saw bags of tangerines, and I bought a bag. But there were piles of them, And, it never occurred to me. So what you really have figured out, I think, is something very, very smart. And also, I've just answered my own question about how the grocers make out, because they ain't selling that stuff anyway, right?
Correct. Yes. Yep. It's a win. It's a win for everybody. And, nobody wants to see food go to waste, certainly not people in the business of serving food, but really anyone. Food is delicious. It feeds us, and a lot of work went into making it. So nobody wants to see good food go to waste. It should end up on tables.
Esther, congratulations on coming up with something that sounds great.
Oh, I didn't invent it.
Well, that's okay. But thank all your colleagues at Flashfood for making it happen. And how do people get in touch with you?
Just visit flashfood.com or go to your app store and search Flashfood. Yep.
Great. Thanks for opening up our minds and filling our bellies. We appreciate it.
Oh, of course. Thanks for having me.
Great. Thank you to Esther Cohn. And again, for more information, you can go to flashfood.com. So we'll be back with more. Don't go away.
What's up, creative family? Discover your voice with Bronxnet community media classes. Are you ready to bring your ideas to life? At Bronxnet, we offer television production classes for community members ages 18 and over, empowering you to share your vision with the world. Get certified in field production, in-studio production, and our new exciting addition, podcast production. Once certified, you can create your own show to air on one of our 6 TV channels. It all starts with our free Unleash Your Ideas Masterclass, designed to help you plan your show idea and set you up for success on your production journey. This class is offered at the beginning of each month for your convenience. Our dedicated Bronxnet team is here to support, encourage, and uplift you every step of the way. Join us and become a part of the creative force that engages and inspires the Bronx community and beyond. Sign up today and start your media journey with Bronxnet. Visit bronxnet.org/education to learn more and register. Let's create something amazing together.
Okay, welcome back to Open. Our next guest is here to tell us about a new $4.1 million NIH grant that streamlines and makes it easier for New York City school children to get access to asthma medication. She says it'll make it much easier for children to receive asthma maintenance and rescue medications when they need them. Please welcome our next guest. It is Dr. Marina Reznik, who is the Vice Chair for Clinical and Community-Based Research in the Department of Pediatrics at the Children's Hospital at Montefiore Einstein Children's Hospital and Medical Center in the Bronx, New York. And so we say hello to Dr. Reznik. Nice to see you.
Good morning. Thank you so much for having me.
Thanks for joining us. So tell us about, let's start with the grant. Tell us about this grant, and then we'll talk about the implications of it and, of course, what it means for families in the Bronx.
Yes. So the purpose of this NIH-funded study is to address multiple barriers to adherence by bridging primary care, families, and schools, ensuring the delivery of guideline-based asthma care to children across these settings, with the ultimate goal of improving adherence to therapy and clinical outcomes of children.
The notion that we'll call it an epidemic of asthma in the Bronx, it's ongoing, it's historic, frankly. Talk about the need and what families are struggling with that this grant helps address.
Yes, absolutely. So rates of asthma in New York City children are among the highest in the country, and specifically in the Bronx, they're really the highest in the state, with as many as 25 to 30% of children being diagnosed with asthma, with high rates of emergency room visits and hospitalizations. So the children who attend New York City schools are required to have a medication administration form on file with their school nurse to receive daily control of medication or quick reliever medication for acute asthma symptoms during the school day. And these forms are required to be completed by a medical provider every school year. However, about 30 to 50% of children with asthma have medication administration forms on file with the school, and children without this completed form on file who are experiencing asthma symptoms are required to be sent to emergency room, leading to missed school days and delayed treatment. And currently, these forms are only on paper, so the process starts with the school nurse who gives the form to the student, who then brings it home to the parent, and then the parent has to bring the form to the primary care provider. Then primary care provider completes the form. If they have it within the electronic health record system, they'll print it, then they have to hand sign it, give the form back to the parent, ask the parent to complete the second page of the form. Parent has to hand sign it, deliver the form to the school, or send it to the school through the student. So this process, as you can see, is cumbersome and includes a chain of multiple handoffs between the provider, parent, and the school. And each of these steps presents a barrier to successful completion of the form and filing it with the school, limiting asthma care during school hours and contributing to potentially avoidable asthma-related emergency department visits, missed school days, and missed days of work for parents.
So, I like the way that you said it. You called it cumbersome. I'm a talk show host. It's crazy. Are we kidding? Here we have a major medical situation for so many families where we can't count how many at this moment, and yet we have a bureaucratic problem with the most fundamental thing that is just literally out of control. So what does this grant do to move this process forward and make it easier for the parents of children in particular to get the medication for their children so that they can be treated and lead much more healthier lives?
Yes, absolutely. So over the past several years, our team has been collaborating with the New York City Office of School Health and also with Hyphen, which is a technology arm of Health First, a regional health plan that serves many of our patients, to design and launch a digital platform that's now integrated into our electronic health record system. And this allows primary care provider to complete the asthma medication administration forms during the visit with the patients, electronically sign the form, and then share the form with the parents also electronically. Then parents can complete their section of the form literally on their phone. They electronically sign the form and then transmit it to the Office of School Health and the child's school. Providers also can view the dashboard within the electronic health record system that displays the status where the form is at. And this streamlined process aims to increase the form completion rates, ensures the timely access to the school-based asthma medications for both emergencies and daily management. So for intervention practice clinicians, they will be completing this medication administration form for children using this new digital platform that will allow school nurses to administer daily controller and rescue medication in the school. And we believe this new digital platform will eliminate the barriers that we currently see with the paper-based process.
Well, let me ask you, has this system been in place yet? Like, do we already know that it's working, or we're getting ready to launch it and then we'll find out how it unrolls?
Great question. Yes, so we have been pilot testing this at one of our sites, one clinic, over the past year and a half, and it does reach the school directly.
So it does, and it's reasonably efficient. Could you just talk about the numbers of people, especially in the Bronx right now, who number one might have asthma or are in a situation where they got caught in this web and they're not able to get their medication and get the kind of care that they need?
Yeah. So from our studies, about 25% of children in the school have the asthma diagnosis.
Wow.
And again, from our prior study, about a third of the children actually have the form on file. So most of the other children who have asthma, they do not have the form. And so in case of emergency, when they have the asthma symptoms, the school nurse may even know that they have asthma, but they cannot do anything.
They can't do anything.
They have to call 911, and the child has to be taken to emergency room. If the child is stable, they can call the parent, and so the parent has to come to the school with the medication and then administer the medication.
I got to tell you, you know, for something so fundamental that we all need health care, and certainly if you're talking about 25% of school children in Bronx or New York City schools that have this problem, to be caught in this maze seems crazy. And one thing which you didn't mention, but I know for sure that it is important to Montefiore Medical Center, the more people who are in emergency rooms unnecessarily affects all of us, because it weighs down the emergency room. And I know the rules are, and Montefiore Medical Center is completely committed. Every single person who comes in the emergency room has to be cared for. But the more of them come in with an asthma problem, which is, I'm not saying it's not serious, but might be dealt with in another way, is really like a really big, I'm sorry, it's a really stupid problem, because we can solve this. I'm really thrilled that you have, made this happen and getting the grant and everything else. Do you feel like people will be notified by it? Are they going to get notified by it through the schools or whatever?
In terms of
that they need to go go online to get the forms, as opposed to going through this horrible process of
so
moving papers around, you know.
We will be studying this whole process, and the other component that I didn't mention of the intervention is that the families will also receive support from asthma outreach workers who are bilingual English-Spanish individuals from the community who are trained for this role, and they will serve as liaisons between the families, the primary care providers, and schools, and ensure that the form reaches the school, make sure that children have the medication both at home and at the school, and they'll provide telephone-based care coordination, supporting the family, make sure they understand the medication use at home and at school, link them to community resources as needed, and then support them if they experience barriers to care, such as filling prescriptions. So we'll be enrolling 420 children ages 4 to 12 who attend pre-K through 6th grade in New York City public or charter schools with the physician-diagnosed persistent or uncontrolled asthma and their one caregiver from all of our 18 Montefiore Health System outpatient practices who serve children, and then we'll follow the enrolled participants for 12 months. So those who are going to be in our practices will be enrolled into the study.
You know, I've been around in the Bronx a long time, and I was around when the Children's Hospital at Montefiore Medical Center was created. This is really a really important institution for the borough of the Bronx, especially when it comes to issues like this, isn't it?
Absolutely.
You know, well, thank you so much for joining us, Dr. Reznik. For your point of view, what should the final message be to parents and children too? But what do parents need to know right now about what you've told us?
Make sure that they see their doctor regularly and have the asthma action plan and have the medication administration form for their school to make sure that they can get access to the medications while the child is in the school. Speak to the doctor if they have any questions, identify their triggers, remember to take the medications that are prescribed by the doctor, and then we are entering the flu season, so get the flu shot.
Yeah, got to get it done. Listen, Dr. Reznik, thank you so much, and thank you to everybody at the Children's Hospital and Montefiore Medical Center. We know what they mean to the borough of the Bronx, and we really appreciate your time on Open.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for having me.
Folks, for more information about this, please go to cham.org or go to Instagram at Montefiore Peds, P-E-D-S. Well, we've come to the end of the program today. We want to thank all our guests for joining, and you, of course. It's always about the people of the Bronx, our viewers, for tuning in. If you missed any part of today's show, you can catch the recable cast on Optimum Channel 67, Verizon Fios 2133, or watch anytime on the web at bronxnet.org. You can catch a brand new episode of Open with my buddy Rena Valentine on Friday. And that's it. This wraps us up for the episode of Open on this day. I'm Gary Axelbank. Make sure to keep the channel wide open. Take care.